pickle. Let's go to the hotline. We are pleased to be joined by the head coach of the 1-0 Arlington Sam Houston Texans. We're joined by Coach Chris James. Coach, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having us on.
We are thrilled to have you on because today's a Victory Monday in Arlington at Sam Houston High School. Haven't had one of those in quite a minute. What is the vibe around the program right now, coming off of last week's big win?
You know, it was an exciting experience to see those kids have some success last week. They showed up today ready to go. We had an early morning Labor Day practice, and I was telling the kids this is my 35th Labor Day practice in a row, and it was the best turnout we've had at practice since I've been there. So it's going well.
Sam Houston knocks off Irving Nimitz 24-3 in the season opener on Thursday night. It snaps a 26-game losing streak for the Texans. And I want to ask you, kind of going into that game and even just going into this season, what has felt different? What has felt like there may be a corner being turned there at Sam Houston that led you guys to this 1-0 start?
Well, you can see the culture that we've been building coming to fruition with our younger kids. They're now getting older, and they're showing up. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're learning football. They're taking it and working on it by themselves. They're teaching and coaching each other in practice. Everything that you see good programs do, you start to see our kids are doing the same things now.
Talking with Chris James, the head coach of the Sam Houston Texans here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation and hashtag TF Today. Coach, there's a lot to break down here, but I want to start with your defense. Defense really came to play in this one. I know you had told us in the offseason that you were really excited about what the possibility of what your defense could do. What did you see from them on Thursday night against Nimitz?
And I saw them get lined up, communicate, and fly to the football. They're doing an outstanding job. We got a senior linebacker in Noel Lopez, who's just our leader on defense, and we trust him to get us lined up, get us in the right calls, and he did an outstanding job along with the rest of the defense the other night.
Offensively, a couple guys I want to make sure we mention. Kind of the bell cow of your offense was Jalen Harper. He goes for 132 yards and a touchdown on the ground. But you also had great balance, too. Ken Jones threw for 3 touchdowns as well. Offensively, I know you're an offensive guy, promoted from offensive coordinator a couple of years ago. Offensively, was this what you were hoping to see from your unit in week 1?
No, we need more points. No, I did. They did an outstanding job. I mean, Nimitz did a really good job of holding on to the football. So I think we only ran 47 offensive plays, and to, squeeze 4 touchdowns out of that, I thought was pretty proficient for us.
I do want to ask you about another small thing that I noticed, because I was at a game on Thursday night, and then I watched a bunch of games on Friday. And in week 1, you see a lot of miscues, you see a lot of mistakes and stuff like that. I'm seeing 3 penalties for 21 yards in a week 1 performance. Obviously, you'd prefer that be 0, but that has to feel pretty good. That your guys went out there and played a relatively clean brand of football.
So that's one of the first things I told our staff when the game was over. I said, guys, we played a clean football game. With having 3 penalties, and the 3 penalties that we had, they were all personal fouls, but they were questionable personal fouls. They were effort plays. We didn't have a holding. We didn't have a procedure penalty. We had nothing. I thought it was one of the cleanest games we've ever been a part of, and that speaks to how our coaching staff is coaching our kids.
Talking to Chris James, head coach of the Arlington Sam Houston Texans on Texas Football Today. Coach, we mentioned this is your 3rd year there as the head coach. You were the offensive coordinator for Coach Anthony Chris, who's of course a longtime friend of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. There, I'm curious. You're a guy who's had head coaching experience before that. What did you take from working with Coach Chris that you're applying to the job now?
One of the biggest things I learned from Coach Chris was just being flexible. Being able to adjust on the fly, make changes that need to be changed when they had to be changed. So, that was one of the biggest things I got from him.
And then I want to ask you, of course, 1-0 is good, but 2-0 is even better. On Friday, you guys are going to take on Burleson Centennial Friday night. Another battle of 1-0 teams there. I don't want to ask you. I know you're already hard at work. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan. But when you take a look at what you're going to be up against the Spartans on Friday night, I'm curious what you see.
I mean, I think Kyle Geller is one of the best coaches in Tarrant County, but being down in Burleson, you don't see him a whole lot. And I've had experience when I was head coach at Crowley playing against them 8 times, so I'm very familiar with them. We're coaching our kids up to become very familiar. They're a perennial playoff team in Class 5A. They do an outstanding job, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
He's Chris James. He's the head coach of the 1-0 Sam Houston Texans. Coach, we sure appreciate it. Congratulations again on the big win. And I know that this was probably the most fun Labor Day practice you've had in quite a while, right?
Yeah, it was great. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. There he goes. Chris James, head coach of the Sam Houston Texans, joins us here at Texas Football Today. Very cool for them to snap that losing streak there against Nimitz, and at a losing streak, when you stack up back-to-back 0-10 seasons, that's when it gets hard, and that's when that ditch gets harder to dig out of.
Yep.
To go out there, and I think again, this is now me just playing armchair football therapist here. Hi. I think if you've got a long losing streak, week 1's your best opportunity to snap it.
Absolutely, because say you go into week 11 and you finally get that, that's great, and it might carry on some momentum into the summer, but it's only going to carry on momentum with certain individuals. Doing it in week 1 is the easiest way to get everybody to buy in.
I think you're exactly right, and that is, you saw it this week as well. Caldwell snapped their long losing streak. Congratulations to Coach Sean Witherwax and company. They edged out Crockett to get to snap, I believe, a 28-game losing streak. I think that your best shot is week 1. That doesn't mean you can't snap it in week 4, week 5, whatever. But I just think, like, coming out of the gates, an opportunity to prove that things are different. You get the whole offseason to game plan for that game. And so I think that Sam Houston, what they were able to do in week 1 was really remarkable and worth celebrating. And we're thrilled to have Coach Chris James join us here on the show. We appreciate his time after, what do you say, his 30-something consecutive Labor Day practice.
32nd, I think.
Because we're not the only ones working, folks.
No.
All those football players are out there and football coaches are out there working as well. We appreciate his time.